Check out Arty rocking this circle skirt. Looks store-bought, right? Nah, DIY all the way. Stick around and we'll show you how easy it is. Welcome to Rubberly Workshop. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Rubberly Workshop. Before we dive into this episode, here's a fun fact. 79% of you watching this aren't subscribed yet. So if you're enjoying this kind of rubbery goodness, hit that subscribe button and join the shiny side. Oh yeah, hitting the like button also helps YouTube get this out to more rubber lovers like you. On with the show. So, another workshop, another guest. Friend of the channel, Arty. Yo. They've recently started their trek down the latex rabbit hole. We wouldn't encourage that, would we? Oh, you know us. When I started writing this episode, I saw we had some pink latex and just knew we had to bring both Arty and the pink latex together. And just like that, here we are. Tell the viewers about yourself. What drew you into latex fashion?
So I really got into latex and the scene through Alec and Brad themselves. It was mostly just coming around to try on some stuff, and I really loved it. It was a really fun time. I enjoyed how everything looked, like latex looks and feels amazing, and wanted to give it another shot, and that's what I've been doing ever since, really.
Hey, that is awesome. You can find Arty on their socials on screen now and in the description. As you saw earlier, Arty rocks this skirt well. You'll see more of that later, but for now, tighten those buttocks, pour juice on your gin, and get those tools ready for some action. As usual, you'll need your well-ventilated workspace. The glues and solvents can be toxic, so safety first. Next, you'll need your crafting tools. If you don't have them yet, watch our workshop playlist and start from F1. We'll get you up to speed in no time. Of course, you'll need some latex. What we're working with today is 0.4mm bubblegum pink from Radical Rubber. And I mean, just look at it. It has Arty written all over it, right? You don't need a pattern for this one. No, really, I'm not kidding. You're literally drawing a few squares to make this. Without measurements, we've got nothing. So let's see how Arty sizes up. This will be super easy. We only need 2 measurements. The first measurement is the waist. So just place some measuring tape around the waist. Little tighter. Tighter? Yep, trust issues. Around the waist. Get the measurement to the nearest centimetre without the tape being too loose or too tight. So we have a waist of 78 centimetres. We'll write that down. Now, to make this skirt stay on Arty's waist and not fall down, it obviously needs to fit tighter than 78 centimetres and stretch around, as latex is so good at doing. I like to reduce the waist measurement by 10%. Yes, that's quite a reduction, but you have to understand that a latex skirt is a little heavier than a regular skirt. You don't want that skirt to fall down now, Arty?
No, not at all. I'd rather not.
Yeah. Quick maths. To get the 10% reduction, we'll take Arty's waist measurement and multiply that by 0.9. And that ends up being 70.2 centimetres. So let's round that down to 70 centimetres. Perfect. The other measurement is the skirt length, going downwards from where we took the waist measurement. You'll probably stop a little past the underwear and then some, like so, because the latex skirt has pleats and will flare out a little. Don't be afraid to add a few more centimetres, it won't hurt.
What length would you have it at? Tell us your ideal skirt vibe in the comments.
There's no hard or fast rule for this, and it's all to your taste. So we'll stop here at 30 centimetres. That should do nicely. Because we're working with squares, there's no real need for a pattern. So we're going to go and take the measurements and run. And there's 2 parts, the pleat and the waistband. Let's start with the easy part, the waistband. We took Arty's waist measurement, reduced it by 10%, so it's 70.2 centimetres, rounded down to 70 centimetres. We need to add 1 centimetre, so now that becomes 71 centimetres. A good waistband is usually 5 centimetres high, so with an extra centimetre for attaching it to the pleat, that's now 6 centimetres. Mind you, the waistband height can be adjusted to taste, higher or lower. It's all good. Easy enough? We'll cut that out now. bit needs a bit more effort. Again, Arty's waist measurement minus 10% is what we start with, so 70 centimeters. We need to multiply that by 3. That's because we're pleating the skirt, and that needs 3 times as much material. We touched on this last episode, link in the description. So that's now 210 centimeters. Add 1 centimeter for the seam, and the pleat section is 211 centimeters long. So I guess we're cutting this out, right? Wait, 211 f***ing centimeters. This roll is about 1 meter wide. So we'll need to cut that into the roll, which means I'm going to have a lot of narrow latex, possibly making it not suitable for other projects. There has to be a better way. Well, welcome to better. We're going to make this out of 3 shorter pieces. So let's get rid of our seam allowance because we deal with that later on. So 210 centimeters divided by 3 is 70 centimeters. All 3 pieces will be seamed to each other, and each piece will have 1 centimeter seam allowance for this. Thus, each piece is 71 centimeters wide and 30 centimeters high. Simples. Let's cut 3 of those pieces out. As you can see, there's not too much to the cutting here, just cutting the rectangles that we measured out. And I think it's time for a break. It's not a time warp, Arty, it's just an ad break.
At Rubbly Store, we've got what you need to keep your latex flawless, fierce, and functional.
Like this? I mean, look at that shine.
For real.
We've got Dip Shine, Shine, and our Crafter's Gift Box. And coming soon, you'll be able to buy latex by the meter.
No more 5 meter minimums from overseas, just 1 meter or 2 for that perfect little project.
Want to up your rubber care game today? Simply visit rubber.ly and click the store tab. Each purchase supports the channel and keeps us bringing you great content, not just what gets the clicks.
Hey. So let's take one of those 3 pieces that we've cut, placing the shiny side down so that the dull side is up, and let's measure and mark in 1 centimeter like so. Place some masking tape up to the seam. On the other end of this piece, it'll be the shiny side that's seamed, so let's lay that down, and we'll mark in 1 centimeter in much the same way. And we'll place some tape on this seam in the same way as well. Make sure it's all nice and tight. And we'll repeat this same process for the other 2 sheets as well. And if you've just joined us for this video and you're not sure of what we're doing, we've taught seams and everything in earlier episodes. So if you want to start from episode 1 of our Rubbly Workshop playlist, you'll be up to speed in no time. Now, let's get those gloves and your mask on, and let's get to work. So let's take the first piece, put the dull side up, get some solvent on the rag, and give the seam a good scrub like so. So let's take the shiny side of the next piece. Our aim is to join the shiny side of one sheet to the dull side of another sheet, like this. And to keep everything nice and consistent, we're going to focus on keeping one side very well aligned, just where I'm pointing here. I'll lay some paper down like so to stop the glue going anywhere that I don't want it to go. The glue that I've got left at the moment is a little bit too thick, so I'm going to add some solvent to thin it out a little. And don't forget to stir the glue if you're thinning it out, so it has a nice even consistency. There we go, that looks like it's good. Spread a nice thin layer of glue like so. And do the same for the other seam. I do like to give the glue a little bit of time to get tacky, so I'll glue a seam on another sheet here like so while we wait. We'll carefully join the first 2 seams together. Once you've lined up the start of the seam, you're off to the races. It gets easier from here. Just keep lining up the seam and use your fingers to press it down. It certainly works a lot better when the latex isn't curling up. Giving the glue a little bit of time to get tacky also reduces the curl, so there's a hot tip. And when you're happy with how it's joined, use the seam roller to press it all down. Taking that other seam we've glued on the shiny side here, we're going to glue it to another dull side like so. It's a fairly repetitive process, but it's nice and simple. You're just making one long latex sheet out of 3 smaller pieces. This may look a little bit complicated, but it's not. Check out this diagram. Each seam is 10mm, and you can see how they're overlapping. We're just gluing the shiny side to the dull side. So now we have one long piece of latex to work with. You know how I mentioned about keeping one side well aligned? Well, let's mark that section. This side we know is perfect, so we don't need to make any adjustments. So on the dull side, just make an arrow to point where that good side is. So I'm going to lay the sheet out on the table like this. Where I'm pointing is where the good side is, where I drew that arrow. But over down the bottom here is where we're going to be seaming. The good thing about seaming the waistband to the side that's not as perfect is that you can hide a lot of those imperfections, and everything will look amazing. I'm going to take my fine point marker, and remember to use it on the dull side. If anything doesn't come off when you clean it, it won't matter as much, because it'll be inside the garment. And what I'm doing here is making periodic 1cm markings throughout. So as you can see here, one piece is a little bit longer than the other, but we can fix that. Let's do this. I'm just going to grab my long ruler and just run it along my previous markings and see what the difference is. And as we can see here, it's not all 1cm throughout. You can see there's a little bit of a discrepancy. After a little bit of measure twice, cut once, we found what we want to cut. There we go, good enough for Australia. Onwards and upwards with our seam measurements. So as you can see, where I'm starting from, I am leaving that 10mm gap off to my left, well, your right on the screen, because that's where the skirt will be seamed together once all the pleats and everything is done. So no tape will go there. I like to work with multiple sections of tape, rather than just running a whole roll of tape along the 10mm seams. Doing it this way allows me to keep it all nice, flat and consistent. If one were to run a whole roll of tape along the seam, you run the risk of stretching or compressing the material and getting your seam measurements out. Let's pick up the pace because this just gets pretty repetitive. Okay, everything's all taped up. I think we're ready to start the pleats. So to start the pleat, we take the long ruler and put it on the taped section that we just did. What you can't see to the right of your screen is that the 0 point of a ruler is at the start of the tape that I ran just now. You don't want to put it onto the seam that's going to seam to the other side of the skirt, because obviously that's going to be the seam. Using a Sharpie marker along the ruler, starting from the 0cm point, let's mark every 3cm, so make a dot at 3, 6 and 9cm, and so on. And we'll continue doing this until the end. Now, you'll want to mark the 10mm seam on the other side. Tape off the seam like we did before. Now we get to the fun part, the pleats. So this is where those 3cm markings will come in handy. Those start from the side seam. I have a way to figure out which 3cm markings will be bending and which ones will sit in place. Stay with me here. I call it sit, bend, bend, sit. So this dot sits, this one bends too, and this dot sits. Each dot is marked S or B. Confused? Don't be. It's really simple. Let's practice the whole sit and bend thing. So first dot sits, second dot bends like so, third dot also bends, fourth dot sits. So we're not bending that one. Next pleat simply bends, bends and sits. And here's a clear picture of what I'm doing. The letters read S, B, B, S, B, B, S. Basically, we just keep following that letter pattern at each 3cm marking. Now, let's land the plane on marking. We've got some pleats to glue. It's time to mask and glove up again. Lay some paper down and we'll start by cleaning one side of the seam with some solvent. Gluing a section at a time makes life a little bit easier, so we'll do that. We'll clean the other side with solvent and glue the other side like so. We'll start the pleating, like I demonstrated earlier. Be sure to keep each pleat nice and consistent. You don't have to be perfect to the millimeter, but the more careful you are, the nicer the finish will be. We love good workmanship. You can see I've used a clothes peg to clip the most recent pleat. That's so we don't bump it out of place while gluing further down. When both sides have been glued on the remaining length of this seam, we'll pleat it all together. The pleats are done, and we're ready to join the skirt together. Lay paper under the seam. Clean the seams with some solvent. Now glue the seams. We'll start joining from the bottom. We need to get this bit perfect as it's most visible. We'll keep joining that seam, careful not to stretch either piece. Also, sorry for the poor view, I forgot to stay under the camera. When it's all together, hit it with the seam roller and be thorough when doing so. It's starting to look like a skirt. We'll take the waistband, dull side up, and mark out a 1cm seam. Tape off the seam like so. Clean the seam. and clean the seam on the skirt. Let's glue the skirt seam. I'll use a peg to keep pressure on a weak join. It should be fine. Let's glue the waistband seam. Now we'll attach the waistband to the skirt, starting off very carefully so it all lines up and working our way through. There is a bit of overlap here, and that's to be expected when pleats are involved. We can just trim it. We'll just mark in and cut like so. As long as we can overlap only 1 centimeter like a normal seam, then we're good. Clean and glue this seam like usual, and we're good to go. And we're done. Let's go over everything with a seam roller, even seams that have already been pressed, for good luck. Remove all the tape, but be careful not to disturb any of the pleats while the glue is still drying. It's best to keep a grip on a pleat when removing tape near it. This is because tight folds in latex can be very weak when the glue hasn't finished drying. Grab a rag and clean all the seams with solvent. We want to remove any stray glue, but be careful not to get any solvent under the seams. Don't forget to clean all your chalk and pen markings too. Now it's time to powder it up. Be sure to turn it inside out and apply the powder thoroughly. Those pleats will have a tendency to stick where they shouldn't. We'll leave that for 24 hours to dry. After 24 hours, we'll wash it in a bucket of warm water and a squirt of dishwashing liquid. Rinse it in a bucket of fresh water. Now to shine it up. For this, I'll use a fresh bucket of warm water and add some dip shine by Rubberly. We only need a squirt. Now we'll dip the skirt and move it about, ensuring that it's evenly polished. Already, it's looking great under the bathroom light. It's time for Arty to shine. Look at that, turning heads already. Arty rocks this skirt with confidence. Want more shiny DIY shenanigans? Hit that subscribe button, check out our other workshops, or support the channel on Ko-fi or Rubberly Store. We make it easy to look this good. That's all for today. Stay tuned for the next workshop, and if you're late for the next class, you'll need a note.